FastAngle takes 2 threads every round. FastAngle we're learning here has the advancing color going straight to the second thread as it moves towards its goal. First you'll see an animation of the process to help you visualize it. Then you'll see a video of the actual process. Our shuttle throwing process is one we're already familiar with. We pass the shuttle from left to right and right to left, back and forth, over and over, building up weft layer by layer. We can imagine replacing a shuttle by moving all of the spools simultaneously back and forth. But we can't move the spools simultaneously, so we have to move them one by one. To do that, we have to move them out of each other's way, moving the spool that isn't already at the edge to the edge first, then moving the next spool to where that spool was, and then the next spool on down the line. In this version of the FastAngle, we will always go straight into the shed. We will never do any back wraps. We've locked in our ends at the rightmost edge of our color areas. Now our green moves by going straight into the shed. The yellow moves to take 2 threads from the green. Now yellow moves to the edge and green moves to meet the yellow. Now green moves to the edge and yellow takes 2 threads from the green. Now yellow moves to the edge and green moves to meet the yellow. Now green moves to the edge and yellow takes 2 from the green. Now yellow moves to the edge and green moves to meet the yellow. Green moves to the edge and yellow takes a thread from the green. Now we'll look at some FastAngle weaving on the loom. Okay, what we're going to do now is to try a FastAngle design. We're going to do a rust design on a brown background. We're going to do a FastAngle angling inward towards the center. We're going to do 4 rounds in towards the center and then step out and then weave another 4 rounds in towards the center. So that's the plan. What we're going to do is to start by starting with an open shed, and we're going to lock in our ends. So what I'm going to do to center it is to count in 16 threads on the top of the shed from each side. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I'm going to lock in the brown one on the left side here. This is going to be our background color. So it's going to blend in with that background that's already there. The rust, I'm going to lock in on the right side. So now what we see is that I've got the ends locked in. The tail is on the left side and the active yarn is on the right side. The same is true with our design color. So each one of our spools has the active yarn on the right side of their color area, and that actually defines the left side as well, which we'll see momentarily. What I also want to say is we're going to do a FastAngle that has the yarn traveling straight to the second thread. So we can do a different FastAngle, what I'm calling an alternative FastAngle, that goes and takes the top of the shed thread going in one direction and turns around and takes the second thread that it's going to take when it's going in the other direction. But this one is the what I think of as easier way to do a FastAngle. It goes straight to the second thread of the 2. So now we've got our ends locked in. I'm going to change the shed. I'm going to pick up the spool that is the edge color that isn't at the edge. I'm going to go straight into the shed. Now, in this FastAngle, I won't ever do anything but go straight into the shed. And what I mean by going straight into the shed is that I have the 2 threads on either side of the place where the yarn is coming out. I'm not taking the one behind it. I'm just going straight into the shed where it comes out of the shed. So I just go straight into the shed. pretty straightforward. I'm going to do the same thing on the right side, and on the left side, the rust is going to come up to the point where the brown is. It's going to meet it, but it isn't taking from it because I want to angle in towards the center and not away from the center. So on the right side, I now have a turnaround, and that turnaround, it has prepared the way to give territory essentially to the brown color. So the rust has made a turnaround. The turnaround is actually on the bottom of the shed, but the brown is going to go straight to that second thread, and it's going to take it. So as it is moving in towards the center, it can take territory. So that's what it's done. It's taken territory. Now I can change sheds and beat. I'm going to go straight into the shed and go out to the selvage. With my background color, my design color, I'm going to go straight into the shed, and I'm going to meet the background color and prepare to do a second turnaround. On this side, the left side, the rust has done a turnaround, and it has prepared the way for the brown to take that territory. The brown is going to be overlapping with the rust for 2 threads. That's what we do when we're doing this fast angle. We take 2 threads every round, and we do them at the same time. So I'm going to do these for 4 rounds and then step out. So the rust is going to travel to the brown. The brown now can take the rust, so it's going straight to that second thread. Second thread meaning I'm counting the bottom of the thread, but I'm ignoring it. I'm going straight to the second thread and taking that. Change sheds, beat. Now the brown gets to go into the shed, out to the selvage. Rust goes into the shed and meets the brown on the right. The brown is going to now take territory from the red as it travels in towards the center. Now, change sheds and beat. I'm going to take the brown out to the edge. I'm going to take the rust up to the brown and meet it. Now there's a turnaround on the right that the brown can take from the rust. I'm going to change sheds and beat. Going to go straight into the shed, out to the selvage, straight into the shed. I'm meeting the brown on the right, straight into the shed. Doesn't really mean a lot of the selvage, does it? Going into the shed, and I'm taking a thread as it moves in towards the center. Now I've completed 3 rounds on both sides. And the brown is taking its 4th thread. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually 8 threads, but I count the top of the shed only. So now it's gone 4 threads. I'm going to go into the shed and out towards the edge here. Now I am going to step out on the right. So I'm going straight into the shed on the left, but what I'm paying attention to is that I'm stepping out on the right. I'm going to go 3 top of the shed threads farther than this last point that I made when I first started the design. So I'm traveling 3 top of the shed threads out, and when I'm stepping out, I have both yarns, both the brown and the rust, in the same shed at the same time. And it will make a very straight line as opposed to a wavy line. Now let's look at what that line is. So this is the straight line that I'm talking about because these 2 yarns are in the same shed at the same time. The wavy line that we created down here happens when the 2 yarns are in opposite sheds. So as we build this up, we'll be able to see how nice and straight that looks. So the brown goes straight into the shed, out towards the edge. The rust goes straight into the shed, and on the left side here we're stepping out on the left, just the same as we did on the right. We're going 3 top of the shed threads past the point that we created the last time we made a point on that side. So they're both in the same shed for, looks like 7 threads. And we'll see what a nice straight line that makes. So the brown is taking from the rust and it's going to start angling in again. Now, what I want you to also pay attention to is that this is a very sharp point that is created with only one turnaround. I can't let it have 2 turnarounds. That's why as soon as there is one turnaround, the brown can take from the rust. So it's instantaneous. It is the first thing that happens. Change sheds and beat. Now the brown goes out to the edge. The rust goes straight into the shed, meets the brown. The brown takes the rust. Again, we go straight to it's the second thread, which is the top of the shed thread. The first one is on the bottom, and we kind of can ignore the bottom of the shed when we do this FastAngle. So, change sheds, beat. I'm going to just weave 3 more rounds. I'm going to let the rust come up to the brown. The brown is taking from the rust as it moves in towards the center. Brown goes out to the selvage. Rust comes and meets the brown. Brown takes from rust. Change sheds, beat. Brown goes out to the selvage. Rust goes into the shed, comes out where it meets the brown. The brown takes the rust. Change sheds, beat. The brown goes into the shed and out to the selvage. The rust goes and meets the brown. The brown takes the rust as it moves towards the center. Change sheds and beat. Brown goes out to the selvage. This rust goes and meets the brown. The brown is taking its 4th one. So that completes our 4. I can do one more step out so that I complete the 4 steps on this side. Let's say I'm going out another even amount, 3 top of the shed threads. I'm going to let the brown take the last one of its rust things, and now I've got 4 rounds on this side, 4 rounds on this side, and a half because the right is our lead side. I also want to take a look at what a nice straight line this makes. Now there are tiny little white spots there which will wind up not showing probably once we take it off of the loom. That becomes very subtle, but this is the way that we step out and step in again also when we do Chimayo designs. So that's it. We've done 2 steps of 4 rounds each of FastAngle.